Alright, I think it's about time we do some more movie plots. I have 5 for you this time. And as we go through, I will tell you what they are. We're going to start with everyone's hero. So, in a 1932 New York City during the Great Depression, Yankee Irving is a 10-year-old baseball fan, but is picked on by the other kids for his poor athletic skills. On that day, he went and he humiliates himself in front of the other baseball players. He finds a talking baseball that only he can hear, and he names him Screwy. Yankee's father, Stanley, works as a custodian at Yankee Stadium. While the two are on the premises, a thief disguised as a security guard steals Babe Ruth's lucky bat, Darlin. The next day, Stanley is falsely accused of the crime and is temporarily fired until Darlin can be found. After being wrongfully blamed for the crime and being sent to his room by his father, Yankee learns that the real thief is Chicago Cubs pitcher Lefty McGinnis. Lefty works for the Cubs general manager, Napoleon Cross, who desires to see the Cubs defeat the New York Yankees during the World Series. Determined to reclaim the bat and save his family from being evicted and out on the street, Yankee takes Screwy and travels down to Penn Station to try and take the bat from Lefty, but fails to get off the train before it takes them to another stop. Although Yankee does get Lefty off the train when he gets hit by a sign. At the next stop, Yankee opens the case and sees Darlin for the first time. Darlin also has the ability to talk and urges Yankee to take her back to Babe Ruth in Chicago, where the next World Series game will be played. During the trip, Lefty attempts to steal the bat from Yankee during a wild chase. Yankee decides to return Darlin to Babe Ruth, thereby clearing his father's name and saving his job. Meanwhile, Stanley, who now regrets being too hard on his son, and Emily, who is very worried about her missing son, start searching for Yankee after discovering that he left home. Meanwhile, Yankee meets others who help him in his quest, such as a pair of hobos named Andy, Lewis, and Jack, a strong-armed girl named Marty Brewster, whose father is a pitcher named Lonnie Brewster, who plays for the Cincinnati Tigers, who helps Yankee drive to Chicago and teaches Yankee to set his feet right while batting. And Babe Ruth himself. Lefty, having shown up in Chicago, steals Darlin and gives her to Cross, who kidnaps Yankee. During the game, Cross traps Yankee inside the office and reveals his plan to him. When Yankee escapes the office, he evades several security guards and finally returns Darlin to Babe. Cross tries to talk Babe out of accepting the victory, saying that Yankee is too young to be a counting player. Despite this, Babe gives Yankee a confidence boost by telling him that it's not the bat, it's the batter. Yankee manages to hit Screwy after 2 strikes. While numerous Cubs players try to tag Yankee out, he dodges and trips them. Lefty makes his final attempt to tag him out, but Yankee manages to outsmart him by jumping over him, as payback for getting both him and his father in trouble, and landing on home plate scoring a run. This restores the moral of the Yankees, who score 7 more runs to take the lead and win the World Series. The revelation of Darlin's theft leads to the arrest of Cross, who says that Yankee was a fan who cheated. When his involvement as an accomplice and a cheater is also revealed, Lefty is kicked off the team and also arrested. Stanley apologizes to Yankee for being too hard on him and congratulates him for being the best player. While his name is cleared and officially reinstated as the stadium's custodian, Yankee, his parents, and his new baseball friends Screwy and Darlin celebrate the Yankees' World Series win in a victory parade, where he becomes an honorary player, while Cross works as the Babe Ruth bobbleheads vendor, and Lefty works as a street cleaner as part of their work release. Yankee happily plays catch with Screwy and the hobo's boxer dog. Yeah, this is a really good movie, especially if you're someone who loves to play baseball. This is a movie that can get you into baseball. It's certainly one of them that got me into baseball besides The Sandlot. Alright, now we're going to get into the next movie, which is going to be RV. A movie featuring everyone's favorite comedian, Robin Williams. So, Bob Monroe, an executive at the large soda company Pure Vibe in Los Angeles, struggles with the whims of his self-absorbed boss, Todd Mallory. His family, including materialistic wife Jamie and their teenage children, the sharp-tongued Cassie and the self-confident Carl, are also demanding, and he had promised them a vacation in Hawaii. Todd seeks to acquire the Alpine Soda Company in Boulder, Colorado, and threatens to fire Bob if he does not promote the takeover. Todd's demand forces the Monroes to cancel the Hawaii vacation. Bob, concealing the real reason for not going to Hawaii, decides to rent a Class A motorhome and tells his family that they are traveling to the Rockies. He plans to make a detour in Colorado to secretly attend the meeting in Boulder. The trip is marked by numerous mishaps. Bob's inexperience in handling the large vehicle results in him colliding with various obstacles and damaging the parking brake. During a stopover in Nevada, he must fix an unsavory clog in the toilet, which gets him covered in sewage. The family also fumigates the RV with stink bombs to drive out intrusive raccoons. During the trip, the Monroes also meet a couple that lives strictly on van life. They are called the Gornickes. They are a good-natured but exhausting family who eats, sleeps, and breathes van life. They live out of their own bus. As they approach Colorado, the Monroes reconnect as a family and enjoy the beauty of their surroundings. Nearing Boulder, Bob fakes an upset stomach and sends the rest of the family on a hike before meeting with the Alpine Soda owners. The meeting is promising, but on the way back, Bob gets stuck in a traffic jam, forcing him to take the RV through a treacherous four-wheel drive trail. At one point, the RV becomes high-centered on a boulder or in a trail, which is the movie's post or extreme exaggeration an image depicts. With a badly battered vehicle, Bob returns to his unsuspecting family. Todd calls Bob and demands that he return the next day to repeat the presentation to the entire Alpine Soda staff. However, the RV's parking brake fails again and sends it rolling into a mountain lake. Through a careless remark by Bob, the family summarizes the reason for secrecy and reproaches him. Bob explains that he fears for his job and the Monroe's standard of living. Determined, he retrieves a bicycle from the sunken RV to make way to the meeting. Soon the Gornickes appear again, and after following the Monroes all the way to Colorado, and they pick up Cassie, Carl, and Jamie, who start to get comfortable with the Gornickes. Before they felt like they were stalkers. Along the way, the family is bond, and Bob catches up to them, reconciling with everyone. At the Alpine Soda headquarters, Bob steps in front of the workplace and pitches the takeover to them, following an epiphany. However, he encourages their independence, aware that Todd would ruin the brand. In retaliation, Todd fires Bob. The Monroes, on their way home in their sodden and battered RV, are stopped by a police officer on behalf of the Alpine Soda owners, who offer Bob a job overseeing the company's expansion. The RV's parking brake fails again, flattening the police car and the company owner's car. Yeah, this is one heck of a movie. Robin Williams in this movie is just amazing. And I really like the Gornickes. They are a really cool family. This is where I got my crush on actress Kristen Chenoweth. She played Mary Jo Gornicke. Now we are gonna do cats and dogs.
And
all right. The Brody family's pet bloodhound Buddy chases a cat and is captured by other cats in an ambush. Cats and dogs are revealed to be highly intelligent, tech-savvy enemies capable of speech wagging wars with covert operatives while concealing their true nature from humans. After an Anatolian shepherd dog named Butch reports Buddy's capture to his superiors, the best canine agents are dispatched to complete Buddy's mission to prevent the cats from making all humans allergic to dogs. At a local barn, 1 month later, a litter of beagle puppies mock their youngest brother for trying to escape captivity. A Doberman and Pinscher agent replaces the litter with a pack of miniature Doberman agents, failing to notice the youngest beagle. Later, Carolyn, the Brody's matriarch mother, arrives to adopt a new dog and selects the beagle, naming him Lou after her son Scotty sarcastically suggested the name Loser. So, Lou became the beagle's name. After detonating an explosive trap laid by cats for Lou, Butch, mistaking him for a trained operative, brings him to the dog's underground network and introduces agents Peak, who is a Chinese crested dog, and Sam, an old English sheepdog. Butch quickly realizes Lou is not the agent he was expecting, but his superiors order him to train Lou himself due to lack of time to find a replacement. Lou is briefed on the origins of the conflict between cats and dogs, dating back to ancient Egypt when cats ruled the world. Butch reveals that Buddy has escaped the cats and the spy trade, retiring to a condo in Boca Raton. Meanwhile, Mr. Tinkles, a white Persian cat, plans to exploit the Brody's patriarch Charles' research on dog allergies to conquer the world. His scheming is interrupted by Sophie, his comatose owner's maid, who enjoys dressing Tinkles in embarrassing costumes. Tinkles orders his sidekick Calico, an exotic short-haired descendant, and Davin Rex ninjas to steal the research. Lou foils the theft and meets a former agent and Butch's ex-girlfriend Ivy, who is a Saluki, who encourages him to bond with Scotty. Mr. Tinkles contracts a Russian blue cat named Dmitry Kanakov, who tricks Lou and places a bomb on the lab door. Dimitri battles Lou and Butch, damaging the Brody's house until Butch disables the bomb and captures Dimitri. During the interrogation, the dogs recover a note by Mr. Tinkles from Dimitri's stomach. After a breakthrough involving Lou playing with Scotty, Charles' machine finally finds the formula to a cure for human allergies to dogs. Having bugged the house, Mr. Tinkles and Calico spring a trap for the Brodies. First, Mr. Tinkles travels to a Christmas tree flocking plant under the guise of the plant's comatose owner, Mr. Mason, and sends the employees home after firing all of them. Then he lures the Brodies with fake tickets to a soccer exhibition game, capturing the family. The dogs receive a video from Mr. Tinkles demanding Charles's research as a ransom for the Brodies. And dogs around the world assemble at a meeting led by an English Mastiff. When the assembly decides not to surrender the formula, Lou confronts Butch, revealing that he was abandoned by his owner. The unsympathetic Butch leaves Lou behind. Desperate, Lou goes in with the plan and brings the research to the location chosen by Mr. Tinkles, the 9th Street Pier, at midnight. But it turns into a trap, and Lou is double-crossed. And Butch, realizing what has happened, stages a raid of Mr. Tinkles' factory, where mice are being prepared to spread the mass-produced allergy. While Butch, Ivy, Peek, and Sam fight Tinkles' cat forces, Lou frees the Brodies and Calico, who was betrayed by Tinkles. Revealing to the family that he can speak, Lou defeats Tinkles, but is struck by an excavator as an explosion destroys the whole factory. Butch rescues the seemingly dead Lou, tearfully admitting that Lou was right to love his adopted family. But Lou turns out not to be dead, and he speaks to Scotty. He decides to return to a normal pet's life with the Brodies until he can serve as a full-grown agent. Meanwhile, Tinkles is sent to live with Sophie and her 3 sisters, where he is dressed in even more humiliating outfits as punishment for his actions against the dogs. Yeah, this one hits home. Next, we are going deep into Rocky Horror Picture Show. So this movie is from 1975. The film begins with a pair of floating disembodied lips welcoming the audience to a science fiction double feature. Throughout the film, a criminologist from an unspecified point in the future narrates and provides commentary on the events. Following the wedding of their friends, a naive young couple, Brad Majors and Janet Weiss, get engaged and decide to celebrate with their high school science teacher, Dr. Scott, who taught the class where they first met. En route to Scott's house on a dark and rainy night, they get lost and suffer a flat tire. Seeking a telephone to call for help, the couple walk to a nearby castle where a party is being held. They are accepted in by the strangely dressed inhabitants, led by the butler, Riff Raff, and the maid, Magenta, and a groupie named Columbia, who dances to the time warp. Dr. Frankenfurter, a transvestite mad scientist, introduces himself and invites them to stay for the night. With the help of Riffraff, Frank brings to life a tall, muscular, handsome blonde man named Rocky. As Frank vows, he can improve Rocky into an ideal man in a week. Eddie, a motorcyclist with a bandaged head, breaks out of a deep freeze. Frank kills Eddie with an ice axe, justifying it as a mercy killing. Rocky and Frank depart for the bridal suite. Brad and Janet are shown two separate bedrooms where Frank visits and seduces each one disguised as the other. Meanwhile, Riffraff and Magenta torment Rocky, who flees the suite. Janet, having learned of Brad's dalliance with Frank, discovers Rocky cowering in his birth tank. While tending to his wounds, Janet seduces Rocky as Magenta and Columbia watch from their bedroom monitor. Dr. Scott, now a government investigator of UFOs, comes to the castle in search of his nephew, Eddie, who sent him a letter implying part of his brain was removed by aliens. Everyone discovers Janet and Rocky together, enraging Frank. Magenta summons everyone to an uncomfortable dinner, which they soon realize has been prepared from Eddie's mutilated remains. In the chaos, Janet runs screaming into Rocky's arms, provoking a jealous Frank to chase her through the halls to the lab, where he uses his Medusa transducer to turn Dr. Scott, Brad, Janet, and Rocky and Columbia into nude statues. After dressing the statues in cabaret costumes, Frank unfreezes them and leads them into a live cabaret floor show, complete with an RKO tower and a swimming pool. Riffraff and Magenta interrupt and announce that due to Frank's extravagance, they are declaring mutiny and returning to their home planet of transsexual, Old Transylvania. Frank makes a desperate final plea, but is ignored as Riffraff kills both him and Columbia with a laser. An enraged Rocky climbs the tower with Frank's body, and after several shots from the laser, plunges to his death. The castle lifts off into space, and Brad, Janet, and Dr. Scott are left crawling in the smog and dirt as the criminologist concludes that the human race is equivalent to insects crawling on the planet's surface, lost in time and lost in space, and meaning superheroes. Alright, time for the last one. This is gonna be just one of the guys. I specifically wanted to do this one because this movie was filmed in Phoenix and Scottsdale. So, Terry Griffith is a high school student and an inspiring journalist in Phoenix, Arizona, who feels that her teachers do not take her articles seriously because of her good looks. After failing to obtain her dream job as a newspaper intern at the Sun Tribune, she concludes that they don't take the article seriously because she is a girl. So Terry decides to devise a plan. Terry decides to remedy the situation while her parents are out of town on a 2-week Caribbean vacation. She cuts off her hair, making her look like a boy, and she enrolls at a rival school. her real identity known only to her sex-obsessed younger brother Buddy and her best friend Denise. On her first day, she meets Rick Morehouse, who is a socially awkward transfer student whom she finds attractive. Trying to stay close to Rick, Terry helps him through an image makeover and encourages him to start talking to girls. After many episodes in and out of school, including fending off a group of bullies led by the bodybuilder of the group, Greg Tolan, dealing with her real college boyfriend Kevin, and being set up on a blind date with a potential new girlfriend named Sandy, Terry manages to be accepted as one of the guys. At the senior prom, a jealous Greg picks a fight with Rick, who ultimately trounces the bully in front of the entire class. When Terry's boyfriend shows up unexpectedly and discovers the ruse, Rick assumes that Terry's big secret is that Terry is gay. To prove otherwise, Terry cuts to the chase, opens her shirt, and reveals her titties to Rick. Although she admits to loving Rick, he rejects her, prompting a desperate Terry to kiss him in front of everyone. To placate the awestruck students, Rick grievously announces that Terry has tits before leaving the prom and Terry behind. Heartbroken and humiliated, Terry retreats to her room and writes a lengthy article on what it's like to be a girl in boys' clothing, detailing all of her positive and negative experiences. Terry then returns to her old school. When her article is printed in the newspaper, she receives high praise and finally earns her dream job. Nevertheless, she still yearns for Rick, who has not spoken to her since the prom. One day during the summer, Rick suddenly turns up after reading her article. Realizing their true feelings for each other, they reconcile and plan another date. They decide to go for a drive in Terry's car. But before Buddy can join them, an attractive blonde on a motorcycle rides up and beckons him with a smile. Buddy then climbs onto the back of her motorcycle and both couples happily part ways. Yeah, this is a really nice film. I like how they film it in Scottsdale and Phoenix. Interesting fact, I've seen some of the locations from the movie. Not just because I showed them on a filming location video I did via Google Maps on my YouTube a while ago, but I've seen a few locations in person. I've seen Terry's house. I've seen her old school, which in the movie I should have mentioned here was called Edwina Pearl High School. Nowadays, that would have been Coronado High School. Lincoln Town Center, which in the movie was where the other school was located. Sturgis Wilder High School, which in reality is a now closed Scottsdale High. I hope you enjoyed this video. And make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you next time. Peace out.